Imagine this. It's January 1945. Europe lies in ruins, the Allies are pushing relentlessly into Germany, and the Wehrmacht is fighting with its back against the wall. Hitler's last major offensive in the Ardennes has failed, and the dream of a final victory is collapsing. Step by step, the Germans are losing ground. Only one small but strategically vital foothold along the Rhine keeps them in France, the so-called Colmar Pocket. Here, the Nazis throw everything they have left into the fight. With desperate counterattacks, they try to drive the Americans back. And it's here, on January 26, 1945, that a young lieutenant named Audie Murphy, just 19 years old, makes a stand that would go down as one of the most astonishing feats of courage in the history of warfare. By early 1945, Murphy's name was already legendary in his unit. Yet nothing in his background suggested this. Born in 1925 to a poor family in rural Texas, he grew up small and frail. At 17, lying about his age, he enlisted in the US Army. At his medical exam, he barely measured 5 feet 4 inches and weighed just 112 pounds. His youthful face quickly earned him the nickname Baby. But size wasn't everything. In training, Murphy proved himself quick, sharp, and fearless. In 1943, he shipped out to North Africa with Company B of the 15th Infantry Regiment. Soon he was in combat during the Sicily landings, and from that summer on, Murphy would spend nearly 2 years almost continuously at the front. A brutal existence of mud, blood, and fire. From the start, Murphy seemed drawn to the most dangerous spots. At Salerno, he single-handedly stormed a machine gun nest that had his comrades pinned down, earning his first promotion. Later, at the Anzio beachhead, he destroyed a German tank and drove back an assault. Actions that brought him the Bronze Star Medal. Illness and exhaustion couldn't keep him down for long. More than once, he had to be physically pulled from the line because he refused to leave, even when sick or injured. It was becoming clear. This young Texan wasn't an ordinary soldier. In August 1944, Murphy landed again, this time in southern France during Operation Dragoon. He killed 2 snipers and wiped out another machine gun nest, earning the Distinguished Service Cross, the Army's second highest award. Just weeks later, in October, he pulled off the nearly impossible: 2 Silver Stars in 3 days. Ambushed again and again, he not only survived, but turned the tables, killing or capturing dozens of Germans. He was even granted a rare battlefield commission. The price was steep. A sniper's bullet tore through his hip, infection set in, and he spent months in hospital. Yet by January 1945, he was back. Now a second lieutenant, still only 19, he commanded the battered remnants of Company B, just 40 men left out of more than 100. The battlefield was typical of Alsace: woods, fields, and the small village of Holzwehr in the distance. Murphy later described it himself: a U-shaped tree line, open snowy fields in front, and the roofs of the village visible a mile away. 2 M10 Wolverine tank destroyers were in support, one on the road, the other slightly forward. Murphy set up his command post in a roadside ditch, armed only with a carbine, a map, a field phone, and binoculars. Conditions were brutal. The ground was frozen solid. No foxholes could be dug. The men marched back and forth in the snow just to keep their feet from freezing. Reinforcements were a mile behind, far too distant to help quickly. At 2 p.m. on January 26th, the rumble of engines shattered the silence. 6 massive German Panther tank destroyers rolled out of Holzwehr, followed by around 250 infantrymen, camouflaged in white and covered by artillery fire. Murphy instantly knew his exhausted 40 men couldn't stop this onslaught. He ordered them to pull back into the woods to a stronger line and called in artillery fire. But disaster struck. One Wolverine was hit and set ablaze. The other slid into a ditch and was stuck. Suddenly, Murphy was alone at the front. Shells ripped the trees around him apart. but he calmly directed artillery fire by telephone. One comrade recalled, "As we fell back, Murphy stayed in front, under a single tree, coolly calling in fire orders." When his rifle ran dry, Murphy crawled onto the burning tank destroyer and grabbed the heavy .50 caliber machine gun. Exposed against the snowy landscape, Murphy opened fire. His bursts tore through the German infantry, cutting down attackers and forcing others into cover. The smoke and flames from the wreck provided partial concealment, and perhaps convinced the Panthers to keep their distance. For more than 30 minutes, Murphy alternated between spraying the enemy with .50 caliber fire and phoning in artillery strikes. Twice, tank rounds slammed into the M10, engulfing it in smoke, and twice Murphy reappeared, still firing. When a dozen Germans rushed him from just yards away, he swung the gun and cut them down in seconds. His dry humor never left him. When a radio operator asked how close the enemy was, Murphy quipped, "Hold the line and I'll let you talk to one of them." He even called artillery so close to his own position that American shrapnel mixed with German fire around him. Wounded and bleeding, he held on until the attack finally broke. After more than an hour of combat, the German offensive faltered, beaten back by a single man. Murphy climbed down from the burning wreck and returned to his men, who had watched in awe. Without hesitation, he regrouped them and led a counterattack, driving the Germans back into the woods. Only afterward did he accept a field dressing for his wounds. He refused evacuation. Later he would write Riley, "For the first time in days, my feet were warm." For his actions that day, Audie Murphy received the Medal of Honor, the United States' highest award for valor. But even before that, his chest already carried nearly every decoration possible: the Distinguished Service Cross, 2 Silver Stars, Bronze Stars, multiple Purple Hearts, as well as French and Belgian honors. By the end of the war, no American soldier was more highly decorated. But behind the medals was a young man who had sacrificed his entire youth to combat. Murphy returned to the US in August 1945, just shy of his 21st birthday. He joined the National Guard, eventually reaching the rank of major. Hollywood soon came calling. Over the years, he appeared in more than 40 films, mostly westerns. His most famous role came in 1955 with To Hell and Back, the adaptation of his autobiography, in which Murphy played himself. He was the nation's celebrated hero, the baby-faced soldier turned movie star. But fame couldn't erase the war's scars. Murphy struggled with nightmares, insomnia, and what we now know as PTSD. He often slept with a pistol under his pillow. Yet he also became a passionate advocate for veterans, speaking openly about their struggles at a time when few others dared. Asked in an interview what his most memorable day of the war had been, Murphy didn't mention Holzwehr. Instead, he recalled being on a train when the announcement came that the war in Europe was over. "Nothing could top that," he said. On May 28, 1971, Audie Murphy died in a plane crash in Virginia. He was only 45 years old. Buried with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery, his headstone remained simple. No gold lettering, as was reserved for Medal of Honor recipients. Murphy had asked to be remembered as just another soldier. Today, a monument in Alsace marks the place where he almost single-handedly stopped a German assault and saved his comrades. His story is more than just that of a hero. It is proof of what courage and determination can achieve, even in the darkest hour